It has been 3 years since Olga reached out to me. Olga was part of an agency we worked for, and together we produced a music video within an environmental campaign.
Plastikbecher, gelbe Tonne, Gulaschdose, blaue Tonne, illustrierte rote Tonne, Hundegachsi, Restmüll.
So there are Sebastian and Joshua, producers from South America, and they knew one person in Europe, Jana, who lived in Ukraine, and she knew one person in Vienna. It was Olga who contacted me. And Olga said she had a very special project, but we all know what special project or a special request means: free labor. And I had to actively restrain myself from rolling my eyes and agreed on a video call. During the video call, Sebastian tells me the story of El Penacho, the crown of Moctezuma, which is a very important artifact of the indigenous people of Mexico. But it's like this topic in Mexico, like very widespread. Do people know?
It is because
so it's a big wish from the whole community that
even the president, the president of Mexico, asked already for it.
It was never returned to its origin, which is Mexico. And it's really sad that an Aztec descendant would have to fly all the way to Europe, continue to Vienna, to visit the Weltmuseum, if he or she would want to visit one of their most important heir of their culture. And the reason why it is in Vienna is because Hernán Cortés, a Spanish conqueror, committed genocide of the Aztecs and looted their resources such as gold. And during that time, the Habsburg Empire governed Mexico. And after generations of inheriting and gifting, the crown ended in the Weltmuseum. And it would sound logical for Austria to return the crown to its cultural heir. But there are complications standing in the way. There is no official legal proof that was Moctezuma's crown. They say that a prince gifted it to Hernán Cortés. But I wonder how fair an exchange of property can ever be in a colonial setting such as this. And there were many individuals that dedicated their lives for the restitution of the crown, such as Xoconoxtlatl Gomora, an activist fighting for the right of his people. And as an Aztec descendant, he is the voice we are representing in this cause. And years ago, the Austrian parliament and its experts decided that the crown is too fragile for transportation. They say that the vibrations would damage the feathers. And during the quest of finding the truth, I met the historian, Khadija van Sinnenburg-Herrol, who invested years in research to complete a book about El Penacho, the contested crown. She was in Mexico herself and asked experts to disprove the issue of transportation.
But I interviewed many of the engineers that were part of this, investigating the different potential ways of returning it. The kind of science fiction that the Austrian scientists came up with to say, oh, it would need a 300-meter-long aeroplane to transport, to buffer the kind of vibrations on takeoff and landing. But it also says in that report, when you read it closely, that actually the cleaning inside the gallery causes a lot of vibration and a lot of damage.
And at this point, I was very invested in this topic. As a son of a travel agent, I was fortunate enough to see many different ethnicities around the world. I thought I had a sense of understanding the importance and weight these artifacts have to communities, only to find out that I merely saw the tip of the iceberg. It goes so much deeper. Individuals, families, generations of descendants are spiritually connected to these artifacts and are a major part of their reality and the way of living. And it is time to restore or restitute these relationships between countries and between different cultures. And back to the call. Sebastian and Joshua asked me if I could assist them with bringing the crown back to Mexico. And I didn't hesitate a second and immediately agreed. The Weltmuseum uses audio guides that one carries around and can listen to the info of each artifact. And normally, there's one audio file per artifact, except for the crown, which has two. And one file has the general information, and the other file is dedicated to reason why it is in Vienna and why it has to stay in Vienna, which they say is the issue of logistics.
We don't know how the feather headdress got to Austria. For Mexico, this unique feather headdress also has great symbolic significance. It's not surprising that there has been discussion about returning it to Mexico.
Hola, te doy la bienvenida a esta audioguía de la verdad.
Welcome to this audio guide of the truth, a version of history told by the descendants of those who suffered the European conquest. My name is Xoconoxtlatl Gomora. I am an Aztec descendant, and I have dedicated my life to fighting for the sacred crown of our Tlatoani Moctezuma to return to our land.
So we bought 20 audio guides of the same model the museum uses and uploaded the identical files except for the second file of the crown. We went with the audio guides into the museum and left without them. After 2 years of planning, we finally pushed through in January 2022. And eventually, my team, friends and I went several times to the museum to plant all of them. And we wanted to provide a visual proof, so we asked friends to be filmed in the museum carrying our audio guides. And it was very daunting, since there were guards everywhere and we had to play it very low. It felt as if we were in an Ocean's movie. And here you see Imad planting one of our audio guides in the Weltmuseum. We also interviewed 2 representatives of the parliament, Petra Bayer and Eva Blimlinger. Both of them had very strong but different opinions to the subject.
It doesn't make any sense that it is destroyed. Yeah? So to say we bring it to Mexico, even if it is destroyed or not, I think that's not a good way. And it's not a question if Austria wants it like this. It's a question if you want that artifacts are not destroyed.
For me, it's not understandable in 2022 why we shouldn't have the means, the technical means, to transport a feather crown 1,151 kilometers without putting it on risk. Yeah? And even if it is on risk and even some feathers break, yeah, we know that not everything is original. Something was changed already, so we also can change 2 feathers or whatever could break. Yeah? So I do not see any technical reason. And the technical reasons were the reasons why Austria said, oh no, it's impossible. Yeah?
And during our interview, Petra suggested to start a motion in the parliament to bring back the topic of returning the crown back to Mexico. And the outcome of this motion was that a new board of experts will discuss the technical possibilities of returning the object, and followed by a meeting of representatives of the parliament to decide for or against the relocation of the crown. We are far away from resolving this issue, but we celebrated the success that the topic is being brought up again. And after the act of activism, Sebastian released a short clip of the project that reached millions around the world. Even in Vienna, where it gained media attention. And in the grand scheme of this issue, one could say that what we did was insignificant. But this activism only proved contradictory to that. With the truth, our bravery shook the nature of colonial ownership. But this is just the beginning.